The National Electoral Council of Venezuela reported a historic win of the Great Patriotic Poll at the regional and legislative elections. The teachers' union in Panama continues its indefinite strike against Law 462 of the Social Security Fund. The 46th Association of Southeast Asian Nations ASEAN Summit began on Monday in Malaysia. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela, following the legislative and regional elections, the Great Patriotic Poll, Simón Bolívar won more than 80% of the votes for the National Assembly and 99% of the governorships. With a turnout of 42.63% of voters, the Great Patriotic Poll obtained 4,552,484 votes for the National Assembly, which represents 82.68% of the total votes. The Democratic Alliance obtained 6.25% of the overall ballots. Alianza UNTC Única obtained 5.18% of the votes, while Fuerza Vecinal won 2.57%. In this context, the Vice President of the National Electoral Council, Carlos Quintero, affirmed that the country had experienced a new moment of sovereignty and the voting results constitute a civic and democratic expression of the Venezuelan people. The President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, stated that the democratic process of this May 25th demonstrated the firm support of the Venezuelan people to the Bolivarian Revolution, despite the attempts of the fascist extreme right to generate violence and destabilization.
After blockades, criminal sanctions, fascism, and violence, today the Bolivarian Revolution has demonstrated that it is more valid than ever, stronger than ever. Today we have shown the power of Chavismo, the Bolivarianism of the 21st century. It is not just what this people have achieved, resisting, persevering, creating solutions, innovating, and moving forward with a new project.
The Venezuelan president informed that terrorist groups that had the intention of attacking officials and political and social leaders of the Bolivarian Revolution were neutralized.
I told Diosdado that on Tuesday he will give a press conference with details so that he can explain the whole plan of violence that we could unveil and defeat before it was activated against the electoral centers, against the refineries, against the guri, against the military barracks. We have obtained at least 20 cell phones that are talking and singing better than Pavarotti, notebooks and documents in handwriting that cannot be denied of the terrorists that we have captured from the most renowned downwards with their handwriting, drawing the organization chart of all those involved, and the objective to try to kill political leaders.
Desde el más renombrado hacia abajo, con puño y letra de ellos, dibujando el organigrama de todos los involucrados y el objetivo para tratar
military leaders, police leaders, to try to kill some of the opposition leaders that registered for the elections. But thanks to the popular military fusion, to the strategic intelligence of the Bolivarian Revolution, we managed to capture them and neutralize the plan of violence, and the elections have been in peace and calm, without any new developments.
Tranquilas, sin ninguna novedad.
Also, President Nicolás Maduro asserted that the population and the newly elected governor of Guyana Esequiba, Neil Villamizar, will have all the budgetary support of the Bolivarian government.
Se hizo la ley orgánica del Esequibo.
The organic law of Essequibo was passed, and the people today, being the dawn of May 26, 2025, Essequibo has a governor, Admiral Villamizar. And this governor elected by the people will have all the budgetary support, because the people of the Essequibo earned it, so that the people of Essequibo have all the rights, as the people of Venezuela.
Porque el pueblo del Esequibo se lo ganó, para que el pueblo del Esequibo tenga todos los derechos como pueblo de Venezuela.
They also elected their deputies to the National Assembly. That means that we are going to see in the National Assembly deputies of the Essequibo, and they also elected their Legislative Council. So a peaceful day, election number 32, and the Bolivarian victory number 30 in this new and beautiful history of the Bolivarian Revolution of the 21st century.
After the results of the regional and legislative elections in Venezuela were announced, dozens of states celebrated the triumph of their governmental candidates, an action that reaffirms the democratic commitment of Venezuelans. The celebrations for the electoral victory of the Great Patriotic Poll took place in different cities of the country, where the people mobilized to show their support to the new governors, legislators, and congressmen. Some governors were elected, while others assumed for the very first time the governmental position for the period 2025-2029. Likewise, the citizens celebrated the triumph of 5 women who will be at the head of the regional governments, a fact that evidences the leading role of women in Venezuelan politics. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back, stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Teachers Union in Panama continues its indefinite strike against Law 462 of the Social Security Fund. The Association of Panamanian Teachers is demanding the repeal of this norm and the annulment of the Memorandum of Understanding that was signed with the United States in April. They also pointed out that the José Raúl Molina government is trying to deepen its neoliberal policies by handing over workers' savings to private banks, thereby disregarding the will of the people. The demonstrators also condemned the pension regulations and criticized the intention to reopen mining or water projects that affect territories and communities. The government of Colombia reached a deal with the national coordinator of the Bolivarian Army, CNEB, one of the dissidents of the extinct FARC, to advance towards the signing of a peace agreement. The head of the government delegation, Armando Noboa, reported that although the parties have had to face complex moments, there is a will for peace. For his part, the head of the negotiating team, José Vicente Lesmes, alias Walter Mendoza, assured that although confidence in the peace process had been lost, the current commitments can help to recover it completely. Under this framework, the government announced the creation of temporary location zones in the departments of Nariño and Putumayo for 120 members of this armed group. With this important agreement, the fifth cycle of this dialogue concluded after 11 months. Representatives of the native peoples of Latin America met for 3 days in the Ecuador and Amazon to coordinate efforts and initiatives in defense of life. The world's largest tropical rainforest served as the setting for this initiative, in which they have agreed to prevent the exploitation of natural resources in their territories. They affirm that it is the indigenous peoples who have given their lives to the struggle to preserve water, land, and all the natural resources of the planet. At the meeting, they also questioned the conferences of the parties promoted by the United Nations organization, stating they do not make decisions based on rights. They also criticized the contempt of the states in the face of the sentences to protect the rights of their peoples. The International Committee for the Freedom of Jorge Glass has written to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. The letter, signed by more than 80 people, expresses deep concern about the situation of Ecuador's former vice president. In the document, they denounce the fact that he has faced an environment marked by extreme violence and state negligence since his transfer to the penitentiary center in April 2024. They recall that Glass was granted diplomatic asylum by the Mexican government, but this was rejected, a fact that they catalog as political criminalization. Against this backdrop, Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa has repeatedly refused to grant Glass safe passage. Notably, even the President of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, attended Noboa's inauguration in an attempt to negotiate a humanitarian solution. Chilean weather authorities report at least 19 people injured due to a tornado that occurred in the city of Puerto Varas in the south of the country. The Chilean National Service for Disaster Prevention and Response issued a bulletin indicating that more than 250 homes were also affected. What the Superintendents of Electricity and Fuel said that about 11,550 customers are without electricity service due to the tornado. The prevention authorities issued a red alert and urged the population to take shelter until the meteorological event subsides. The Russian army shot down 220 Ukrainian drones in 24 hours amid the ongoing special military operation. The air defense system deployed in Tula, Oriol, Moscow, Kaluga and other provinces succeeded in destroying hundreds of UAVs during this period. In response, the Russian Defense Ministry assured that the Russian armed forces carried out over the weekend several attacks against Ukrainian military facilities. On Sunday, a Ukrainian drone crashed in Tula province, setting fire to the dome of a cathedral. Several residential buildings near the church also were damaged. We have a second show break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final show break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. The 46th Association of Southeast Asian Nations ASEAN Summit began on Monday in Malaysia. Its members emphasized the need for greater regional integration in order to tackle global challenges. This important meeting is being hosted in Kuala Lumpur, capital of Malaysia, where government representatives from Brunei, Cambodia, the Philippines, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam are outlining a strategy based on strengthening integration and resilience in order to withstand trade and economic shocks such as the tariff war unleashed by the United States. In this framework, the bloc's foreign ministers convened in Kuala Lumpur on Sunday to address pressing regional and international challenges. Sharing the meeting, Malaysian Foreign Minister Muhammad Hassan raised concerns over global economic uncertainty triggered by U.S. tariff threats and its trade tensions with China, Asia's largest trading partner. Unlike the European Union, Asia will not be able to negotiate as a bloc with proposed U.S. tariff rates ranging from just 10% for Singapore to more than 40% for Laos, Vietnam and Cambodia. In this context, the foreign ministers emphasized Asian solidarity, underscoring the bloc's support for its member states in navigating global trade challenges and pursuing bilateral negotiations. On Sunday, United States President Donald Trump confirmed that he would pause the threatened 50% tariffs on European countries until July 9th. The decision was informed on Sunday by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, who took to social media to unveil she had spoken with the US head of state and secured the delay to give the two sides more time to negotiate. The European leader described the exchange as a good phone conversation, but avoided mentioning that they are simply returning to the previous timetable due to the lack of progress in negotiations. The Israeli government has designed a fake humanitarian assistance plan for the Gaza Strip in order to advance and control its genocidal campaign against the Palestinian enclave. The Zionist plan aims to weaken the Palestinian resistance movement and reduce humanitarian channels managed by international organizations, including the United Nations. The program would allegedly be managed by private U.S. companies in coordination with the Israeli government, with the aim of imposing hegemony in the Gaza Strip. The United Nations has denounced the Western initiative for restricting Gazans' access to safe food and putting them at risk of a direct Zionist attack. The Israeli army carried out a new wave of bombardments in the Gaza Strip, killing at least 51 people. The Fahmy al-Jagar school was one of the targets, where the missiles pierced the upper floors of the building and shattered dozens of people sheltering in the lower levels. The attack caused a fire, as a result of which many died of asphyxiation or were burned by the flames, and others suffered severe burns. In this regard, the Gaza Strip Health Ministry has been unable to identify most of the bodies, while survivors describe deafening explosions and a constant tremor that shakes the besieged neighborhoods. In a statement, the International Committee of the Red Cross condemned the death of two of its employees who were attacked at home in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip last Friday. This organization is shocked and distressed by the murders of Ibrahim Aid, an explosive treatment agent, and Ahmad Abu Hilal, a security guard at Rafah Hospital. The assassination of these two individuals leaves a great void and is a loss for humanitarian assistance. We reiterate our call for immediate ceasefire and reaffirm our commitment to Palestinians, they said. This Sunday, thousands gathered at La Place de la République in Paris to demand an end to the Israeli genocide against Gaza. Demonstrators rallied under the slogan "Stop the Genocide," condemning the indiscriminate violence perpetrated by Benjamin Netanyahu's government against the Palestinian people. Europe has experienced a week of intense mobilizations, coinciding with the first expressions of condemnation by some regional governments, allies or accomplices of Tel Aviv. The urgent demands are centered on a ceasefire and the entry of humanitarian aid without restrictions. South Africa affirms that it is not expropriating any land under the new law and that the lands acquired are the result of negotiations and agreements with landowners. In a statement, South Africa's Minister of Agrarian Reform and Rural Development, Maswanele Nyonso, denied any land expropriation. The official pointed out that the new law is aligned with the protection of property rights, the promotion of inclusive development, and improving access to land. The ministry added that since 1995, it has acquired some 3.9 million hectares worth $1.5 billion for agricultural production, forestry, tourism and hospitality. The South African government denied Trump's statements about the for genocide in the country. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.